You're such an asshole.
AssholeConsulting.com, helping out people by giving them one thing no one else in the world has given them, the truth, which you can pay for by going to AssholeConsulting.com. Hey Cap, love the channel and advice. It's helped me gain more self-esteem about my position in life generally and gave me realistic things to notice in the world. I'm 28 years old, MGTOW with a girlfriend, a job that doesn't suck so much and has non-monetary benefits, 2 months paid off, free holidays, free meals. Wow, okay, so and you're basically a psychologist. Finished college with no debt, although I picked a dumb major, psychology. I was interested in it and it got me the job I have now, at least. And look, I know I slam on psychology because psychology is bullshit. It's bullshit, all right? But there is money in it if you get your master's or your doctorate. My biggest complaint is Tina, gonna major in child psych. I'm just good with children. I'm just so good with children because I babysit them. And even though my brain isn't fully developed yet, I think I'll become an expert at the mind as long as I don't have to do math. Because I'm good with children. See, but you probably actually had an intellectual interest in it. And now you're making money. So if you just go a little bit more, then you could become the self-employed. You don't have to... I know it's ever so generally, your master's allows you to work for somebody else, but your doctorate, you can open up your own shop. Bob's Psychology Hut or something like that. So it's not, as long as you keep on going, you can become Professor Dr. Crane. Biggest mistake was buying a new car after college because of keeping up with the Joneses, pressure from my parents. They helped co-sign. I was pissed as soon as I got off the lot. It felt like a fail, and 4 years later I still feel the same. Could have been fine with a used. Yep, my IQ is above average, but I'm lazy, so I'd rather make less and have less rather than do some of the mentally demanding jobs I technically could do for money. I use my mental energy using your two-prong approach to have side hobbies and passions, making about $40,000 a year. No kids. I've been able to save more than I ever really thought by adopting a minimalist lifestyle last year. Me and the girlfriend were paying $1,300 a month for a studio in Los Angeles, and people said we should be thankful because a one-bedroom goes for $2,200 in the neighborhood we're in. Obviously, a bubble is coming because my family in North Carolina pays $600 for a nice two-bedroom. Now, that's just LA, dude. That's every idiot like, I'm going to go to Los Angeles. Oh, my God, California. They made a song about it, and all the popular pretty people are there, and the weather is wonderful, so let's just cut our veins open and pay shit tons in rent. I don't think rent's going to go down either. All the idiots and their mothers want to go live in California. You go have it. We hopped off the stupid train and bought a van cash with our last month's rent, and have been van life and free Wi-Fi the past year. The financial goals I hope to reach by 35 I'll be able to achieve in the next 10 months. I'm from a black, Latino, blue-collar neighborhood. Most of my buddies got bored of partying and working and had kids at 26, 27, so I'm like one of the last bachelors in my group. So it also sounds like you're one of the guys that actually left town. You'd be amazed, and not necessarily black or Latino, but even where I'm from, predominantly white, like no one leaves. It's amazing how few people leave their hometown. Like I'm just shocked. Like, you're still here? I know a couple people. This guy's got a bar 2 blocks away from the middle school we attend. I'm like, fuck, dude, leave. So the fact that you left, and okay, I pick on everybody for going out to California because that's what you're programmed to do by the movies. You at least left. So you're probably smarter than average. You're probably smarter than what you think. And you're certainly entrepreneurial or certainly adventurous. So I think those will play... in other words, it doesn't surprise me that you're living this different and unique life and having success doing it. I also think there's a lot more potential as well, but that we'll get to later. I have 2 questions. First, saving plus investing has upgraded my financial life greatly. I'm close to paying off my car and having even more income to save. Me and my GF love not paying rent, and we made our van a modern solar power camper that suits our needs and space. Seeing as I own my own living space and have for the past year, I keep having the thought that when I hit a certain financial savings number, I'm supposed to buy a house or at least some land to park my van or build my tiny house on. The problem is it just feels unnecessary. We live in a part of town that has lots of vans, RVs, and cars parked everywhere with a lot of free industrial road parking. Our van has everything blocked so you can't tell we're inside from the outside. It's very, very basic, typical color and model. No police or transient interactions or problems whatsoever. Another advantage is we're able to park very close to our jobs, giving us each a 7-minute commute. Dude, you are so far ahead. You are so fucking far ahead, man. That is brilliant. If we change jobs, we just change where we park. Should getting land or a house be a priority with this setup, even if we don't live in it and rent it out? It would be cool, but the idea of commuting being tied down location-wise turns me off. Plus, we can save on property tax costs and repairs. I also have better investment options I'm taking advantage of currently. Life's been good this summer at my part-time job, working 2 days a week, and still have enough left over to save until my full-time starts back up in late August. Dude, you can Uber too with that car. That's you're just doing it right. You're just doing it right. All right, should you buy it really depends. I hate to give that general answer, but a lot of problems that many young men or many middle-aged men are facing now, who are minimalists, who don't go into debt. Like, what do we do with the money? And you are right. If you bought land, you just got to pay the property taxes on it, and it doesn't cash flow out. On top of it, where do you want to get land? Now, I asked you if you did reconnaissance. You said you've driven all over the country. So if you were to get land, what I would do is find out where you'd want to inevitably retire, or you see yourself being there for a long time, and a place that you like a lot. So I don't know if that's Moab, Utah. I don't know if that's Denver. I don't know if it's back home in Carolina. But I would just go and buy some land. Now, if you do it right, you should be able to cash flow it somehow. So, for example, I inevitably would like to buy property in South Dakota, but I just don't have the cash to go buy a house. But I do have, inevitably I'll be working up the cash to buy the land. And then maybe put a pole barn up there and then lease it out as storage. Put up some cheap, just storage. Or if you get in some agricultural areas, you can lease it to farmers, and they can, grow grapes or whatever the hell they want. So there's different uses or ways you can get land to generate some kind of rate of return. And you're not going for a high rate of return. You're just going for something to cover insurance and property taxes. And if there's no structure or building, I don't even know if you need to get insurance on it. It's land. It doesn't really do anything. So that's one thing you could consider. Like, if you really have nothing else to do with your money, you have no other investments, fine, get the land now. Don't worry if it goes up or down in price, but down the road, that is where you'd build your mini house, or you'd have this base. Another thing I like about having a house, or just some, like a small micro house, condo, something, is that you'll never be homeless again. And if it is a micro house or a condo or something like that, you can usually rent that out to your buddy. Right, but this then brings you into the world of the responsibility of being a landlord. Again, is it worth it? If not, it sounds like you want to keep things really simple in your life, then maybe just land. But until that point in time, no, you're right. You don't need it. And there's nothing wrong with just saving up more and more and more money. All of a sudden you got $250,000, you can buy a piece of property outright with a house when that time comes. In the meantime, if you have investments, where did you say? We're able to I also have better investment options I'm taking advantage of currently. Okay, so if you have those investment options, they're paying 4 or 5%, beating inflation. Go ahead, invest with that stuff. Those investments you can always liquidate later and get the house. But I would wait until it becomes very apparent, like, yeah, now it is time to get a house. But otherwise, dude, it sounds like you're having fun. Sounds like you're into the van life. The only thing, here's another idea. Like I said, you could get the land, but you could maybe make, about van life. Put it up on the board. Hey, KOA kind of campground over here. If, some of these towns, they don't have a lot of places where people are allowed to just park. Just, go get the land and say, hey, make some donation. Put a slide card thingy, and they pay you, or they PayPal you, and you check them in. Airbnb some land to van and camper type people. But if you have these other investment options, I would do that for now, because it's not like your money's going anywhere. You can always get a house later. But yeah, I'd postpone it until, like, oh yeah, man, there's this spread of land I saw in Nevada that I really want, and then you go there. Second question: Is traveling for women and adventure overrated? My girlfriend is thoughtful and supportive from the Philippines. She cooks, cleans, and makes sure I'm taken care of. She works more hours than me too, but makes less. While this is uncommon in Western girls today, I feel she's becoming Americanized over time, and I haven't felt like I found a unicorn. She has mood swings, is usually grumpy. Asian women stereotype. Are Asian women grumpy? And can be manipulative and inconsiderate when she has a social advantage over me. I could see social justice warrior and the government giving her leverage if we ever had kids or married. So I'm not digging in here. Maybe in her homeland, if the laws are better, I can set her up there cheaper. I've seen most of the USA. I love it here, and it's where I fit in most as a middle class English-speaking black male. I like to see more of the world, but I feel I always have a better time traveling when I have work or business to attend to in a new part. It loosens my expectations, keeps me in a group, and gives me something to be occupied with so I can really experience the location instead of hopping around tourist traps. My point is, me and my girlfriend fight every other week, and sometimes want to leave our van, sell my stuff, and travel without her while I'm still young. I'm just wondering if it's worth or even smart. Frankly, if you're fighting every other week and she's already giving you this manipulative, controlling stuff, no, get rid of her. That's just, and I know she's very nice and all this, but you say, maybe down the road, but that's just unacceptable. The woman here, women have two options. They could support or they can shut up. There's no arguing, if there's a genuine criticism, like, oh, hey, you got to think about, okay, but it's constructive, that's support. But the nagging and the fighting and the obstruction and the questioning, no. Silence or support, those are the two options, and it doesn't sound like she has this. And, it's pretty cool you guys can live in a van and not be at each other's throats. I could maybe see where that might make things a little more prone towards arguing. But if she's pulling this shit and you're that young, what are you, 26, 27? Or you're 28? I would like, here's the van. And you should. You're the perfect candidate to go travel. But I would not travel because you're going to go get tail overseas. I would travel for the adventure. Tail may or may not be in your path. But the law, this is separate from if this girl's already arguing with you like that, I hate this. I always like to give quality girls a shot. But if there's this arguing every week, fuck no. That's not the girl for you. And you could say, you know what? I'm going to travel over the world. Here's the van. Maybe we'll hook up later. But right now, you argue, you don't support, and then, maybe revisit her at a year or two later. So I would definitely travel for the sake of traveling, expanding your horizons, doing reconnaissance overseas. And who knows, you may find out, oh my God, your investment overseas is you buy property in Bangladesh or something. I don't know why you'd end up in Bangladesh, but it's an option. I'm just wondering if it's worth it or even smart. I've heard horror stories of black professionals traveling and making locals upset of countries that are going through financial crises, being too flashy, flirty, and demanding. A black graduate was beat to death by a mob in a Greek bar this month for allegedly flirting and taking a picture with a local hot bartender. I'm sure there's a lesson in de-escalation somewhere, but I don't know all the details of what happened. I'm much more low-key than most of my peers. Are pretty quiet and try to dress down, but I notice I'm still a target because I'm tall, put well together, black and American. I want to know, with all this considered, is the risk even worth it for a few good memories, or should I just stay traveling only English-speaking, U.S.-influenced places? I'd start there. I don't want you to don't go to North Korea, obviously. I don't want you to limit places because you're afraid because of your race or your height, you're going to be singled out and beaten up. So, but still, you might have a point. I would talk to O'Shea Jackson. There might be discussion boards, find some black community discussion boards where brothers are traveling overseas. Like, oh man, don't go there. Because I don't know, I've never traveled as a black man. But I would start, just play it safe. Get used to traveling internationally, Europe, English-speaking countries. Get your passport stuff down. Ease yourself into it. I wouldn't just be jumping into South Korea, I hear it. Even I would be like, that's just too different of a culture. And I know it's Western and modernized. I wouldn't be going to an Arab country either. I know Abu Dhabi sounds great and grand, but I'm not going to Riyadh. I don't know. So the only foreign travel I did was in Europe. And even there, I'm getting speeding tickets in Switzerland because they're all a bunch of well-behaved, Europeans. Italy, you learn to get out of the left lane very quickly. But I just start traveling the English, just international travel in general. Start traveling in the easy places first before you decide to go someplace more obscure. I would also talk to Adam Piggott because he traveled in Africa. He traveled all over the place. So he knows some of the second and third world shitholes and stuff like that. But yeah, for now, make sure you're a good international traveler first before you go to the more obscure ones. But yeah, you should have. I don't think you'd have trouble going to Britain or mainland Europe or Sweden. The Mediterranean countries, Greece, don't be. It sounds like this guy was like, he's hitting on the local hot bar. Don't do that. Don't take selfies. Don't be the douche. Just be very quiet like you are, disciplined, kind of dressed down. Don't, well, dude, man, bro. No, that doesn't fly in foreign countries. You're not Flava Flav. Don't walk in with your fucking clock necklace. Was it Flava Flav or was that Snoop Dogg? Whoever, I think it was Flava Flav. So, but yeah, then do some research, find out, where are blacks allowed, where should blacks not travel? Great Google search. I moved away from college and had the partying, different girls' experiences in my early 20s. Now that I'm closing in on 30, are there more of those experiences I should reach for? Or just start building and settling in one place already? There's more of the world I want to see. I speak English and Portuguese, and want to see more countries while younger people still identify with me. Often I have this vision of dropping out of consumerism, ego-inflated, selfie millennial community, and going to live cheap and single in Costa Rica, making money online. Is it a reality for the people that try to achieve this? Thanks for reading. Would love a video response for your thoughts. Take care. All right. Yeah, if you speak Portuguese, Brazil and Portugal, there you go. You can check that out. I think, some of the smaller South American northern countries maybe speak Portuguese. Is there more partying? No, dude, not really. You've been to a nightclub, you've been to them all. I mean, read Rush's books. He goes, even he's tiring out. You're just getting older and more mature, and you've done it. The novelty has worn off. So yeah, I mean, go to a nightclub while you still got it in. You go to Rio de Janeiro. Go to I hear Dominican Republic is kind of nice. For Americans, and the brothers like to go there a lot too. But is it possible for you to make money overseas? Hell yes. Become a digital nomad, become a remote location worker, whatever you could do from your laptop. Now, we talked about this on a couple more emails, and that was how I think there's a huge market for an actual professional psychologist to do consulting, kind of like I do with Asshole Consulting, but over Skype or Praxi. That's an app you can get. Because I know there's been a couple girls who offered to be like psychologists, but I've tried to get them to work with. I'm like, hey, I like to run. We could, if you got people with finance questions, you could send them my way. If I have people that have genuine mental problems, I can send them your way. And I've had people come on. I'm not a psychologist. I can't treat people. I'm bipolar or anything. But there's a desperate need for a psychologist to go online and be the manosphere psychologist. And if you got your doctorate, that would allow you to be licensed and certified. So the enviable position is your money comes from the first world. You make it first world pay, but with second or third world prices. So you're sitting on a beach in Sao Paulo, you're over in Costa Rica, you're in the Dominican, or you're over in Greece or whatever, not getting the shit kicked out of you. And there you are, Skyping with someone, as long as you got good enough internet access, they pay your PayPal account, boom, you're done. So the only real thing is that you got your real job, during the year, and you'd have to travel more or less during summer. And this is going to happen overnight. But yeah, once you develop a clientele and a base, whatever online endeavor it is, then yeah, you don't have to be in the United. You could go travel, and that's kind of what I did. I mean, I prefer the United States West. That's all I do pretty much during the winter and spring. Just drive my motorcycle around, got my laptop in the back, like Cappy Appleseed. I stop in, say hi to different fans and friends, and I go hiking with the talented Mr. Lee. It's a great fucking life. It's great. But I think in speaking to it, I own a house. After a while, it's good to have a base too. And I think maybe after you start traveling, you're a nomad for a while, you're saying, man, it'd be nice to have like just this one headquarters to go back to. But speaking to, can you? Absolutely. And I think because of your background and because there's nobody with fucking hustle apparently with this psychological idea. I even know, I won't mention his name, but this guy, he had a master's in psychology. He worked with kids at school. I'm like, dude, why don't you become a psychologist? And this guy just completely fumbled the ball. So I think going back and getting your doctorate, this is maybe a 2-year plan, 3-year plan, however long it takes you to get, whatever it is required that you can get a license and open up your own online shop. But by the time you're 32, which is still very young, you should be able to just, by 35, you'll have your doctorate and you'll have a couple years and you'll hopefully have a clientele and you can travel around the world for the rest of your life. And I think by that time, you'll get more experience traveling around the world. You know where you want to be. You'll know, maybe do I want to buy property in Dominican Republic or whatever. And then your long-term investment and financial plans will become a bit more clear as to what you want to do. But right now, yeah, man, you're still in the nomad mode. You're still in the wanderer mode. Go wander. And don't have that girl come with you if she's already arguing with you. And remember, support or shut up. Those are the two acceptable options. Nag and nitpick are not acceptable. No. All right, anyway, hope that helped out. If you didn't read Reconnaissance Man, read that. That might help out a little bit as well. I don't know. I don't even know if you need it. You already kind of sound like you know what you're doing. Yeah, and then I would definitely look at that, your profession now. You may find it boring. You may think psychology is stupid. But, dude, if you got your master's, it's just, another 2 or 3 years? Something to consider. So, all right, you guys got questions? Contact America's older brother, that's me, Cappy, at assholeconsulting.com. Check out my blog, CaptainCapitalism.blogspot.com. Read my books over at Amazon.com, and we'll talk to you kids later. Toodles.